Hey everybody, this is the Sliders Review, and I'm here today to actually talk and re-upload something that I've already talked about. I believe I talked about it last month, and my video got taken down because I had it set for like kids. Because I'm talking about Scooby-Doo, and it's a cartoon. So I'm like, okay, well I have to mark it as kids because, you know, if I don't, then they will automatically. But I ended up uploading an image of white supremacy to get my point through. Apparently, you're not supposed to do that. I guess you're not allowed to teach kids about racism and stuff. So, yeah, they took that down. And so I'm re-uploading the video. Well, actually, I can't re-upload it because you know how YouTube is. They delete first and make a statement later. So I'm re-recording this whole thing. This time, the picture I'm going to upload is okay because I'm not going to mark this for kids. I'm going to mark it as adult. So here we go. Just like the title says, they're making a new Scooby-Doo, like either an animated show or like a television series, live action. And they race bent Velma. They turned her Asian. And like always, white people lost their stinking minds. Again. Yes, the Phantom Menace has struck again. They just can't help themselves when the character gets race bent. But more importantly, they can't help themselves when a white character gets race bent. See, now, about Velma. Now, when it comes to this, like I said, this happened like a long time ago, but I had to re-upload. Velma. When it comes to Scooby-Doo, don't nobody like Velma. It's Velma. But yet these people went nuts, bat stir crazy over Velma being race bent into Asian. Who race bent her? Mindy Kaling from the Mindy Project. And it's like, you know, she wants to have representation in this show. Quite frankly, I think like everybody in Scooby-Doo needs to be race bent. They need to keep one white, make one black, one Asian, and one Hispanic or something like that. You know, just like mix it up. I mean, this ain't the 60s no more, or the 70s, or whenever that came out. And it's like, yeah, they went crazy over her now being turned Asian. And it's kind of like, I don't get it. It's like these people are born hateful or something, you know? Because it's like, nobody cares about Velma. Now, Daphne, that is the female in Scooby-Doo everybody loves because she is Daphne. She is the redhead. She's the bubbly one. She's like the tough one at time. You know, I mean, Velma didn't get popular until the first Scooby-Doo movie when she turned into Hot Velma. That's the only time people started liking her. Because before, she was just the girl who would drop her glasses and be scratching around on the floor. So I don't know why they're getting so bent out of shape about that. Oh, but you want to know something that's funny? See, do you remember those original first two Scooby-Doo movies, the live action ones? Well, Cartoon Network came out with a third. And in their live action TV movie, guess what? Velma was Asian. Oh my God. Yeah, that's right. She was Asian. See, the actress who played her is an Asian woman. She might dye her hair blonde, but she's Asian. She's about as Asian can be. But a lot of people didn't know that because a lot of people didn't know who the actress is. Actually, I think she might be Asian and Hispanic. But for the main part, she's just Asian. And yeah, some people actually knew she was Asian. You know what I'm saying? And guess what? Back then, nobody cared. They didn't complain. They didn't like rant on the internet. They didn't like rip their hair out. They didn't wag their little finger on like the camera as they're recording their message. Woke and everything. They didn't do that because, you know, that just didn't exist back then. But now it's all these people who hop on the internet who scream woke, Mary Sue, we're getting replaced and stuff. These people are disgusting and they make me sick. And they make me sick because they act like they don't want nobody but themselves in this world. And if anybody's getting replaced, you're trying to replace the people of color with yourself. And you know you are, you just don't want to admit to it. Because if you admit to it, then you have to call yourself a bad person or a racist. Oh, but here's some more info for you. Oh yeah, they came out with this other Scooby-Doo type movie. It was like, I think it was like direct to video, direct to streaming, something like that. I think it was called Daphne and Velma. It was a movie that shows Daphne and Velma creating like Mystery Inc. instead of the whole group doing it. And guess what? The actress, who I don't really like, who played Daphne, she is half black and indigenous. Yeah, that's right. She ain't white. No matter how much they try to bleach her looking skin and stuff and make her light. But yeah, and dye her hair red. She is a woman of color, the actress from Charm. And guess what? People knew this who watched the movie. And guess what? They didn't care. But one reason why people probably didn't care, because nobody probably watched that movie. Only like a handful of people watched the movie. I did not watch that movie. It did not have the rest of the Scooby-Doo game. It didn't even have Scooby-Doo in it, I heard. So there was no way I was going to watch that crap. But my point is, if you didn't care about that, then why do you care now? And you only care because you want to be a hateful little troll. You want to be a hateful little bigot. See, and the thing is, like I said before, it's them same people that when there is like a character on TV that they don't like, they always mention that person's race. They always mention that person's gender. If it's a female, it's the same people who call woman women. Yes, women. Because these people have a serious problem. They're just a bunch of idiots. This is why we need critical race theory. Because for some bizarre reason, I don't know what has happened to white people, but y'all have like lost your minds. Stop losing your minds. Y'all used to be so cool and everything. And you're just making yourselves look bad. And for all the stuff, like, yeah, a lot of TV shows nowadays, they suck. Because, you know, not because of people of color, not because of LGBT, and not because of women, it's because people don't know how to write, direct, or act. And yes, they keep making men to be the villains, and they keep making white people look stupid. And that's gonna keep happening if you don't stop acting that way in real life. Swear to God about some people, man. There have been many characters that have been race bent over the time, whitewashing, if you will. It happens in comic books a lot. Like, take the Mandarin, for example. Now, when he got race bent into white, people lost their minds as well. Even white people lost their minds. A lot of nerdy people, geeky people who love the comic books lost their minds. But mainly it was people of color that lost their minds. And also there was like a large group of people who were white who defended the Mandarin being turned white. Not once but twice, because he was there was 2 white Mandarins in there. And they said, oh, they had to like not make him Asian because the Mandarin is a stereotype and blah 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 and blah 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 and politically correct, which is so funny they'll use a term like that because the people who got so pissy hate that term because politically correct is now woke. And see, the thing is, yes, the Mandarin back in the comic book day was a huge stereotype. They did everything in their power to make this man offensive to the Asian community because it was just back in those days, you know. But is it Shang-Chi or Shang-Chi? Anyway, thankfully for that movie that's about to come out, they're about to correct the mistake that Iron Man 3 made. Same thing happened with the Ancient One. In the Doctor Strange movie, they turned him from like an Asian man into a white woman. And it was just kind of like, dude, what are you doing? Like, the dude's supposed to be Asian, and he's supposed to be a dude. And stuff. And so it's like, yeah, when you race bent like a person of color and you turn them white, that is bad. But when you race bend a white person and turn them into a person of color, that is not necessarily bad. Only because of one reason and one reason only. Because back in the day, no, I mean back in the day, I mean back in like the 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, you know, when all that good TV stuff was on TV, all you saw was white people. Black people really didn't start making a stride until around the 70s. And, you know, and every other race came after, like around after that time as well. And it's like whenever there was a person of color back in them olden days, they were either a huge stereotype or they were the villain. And they had the white savior that had to come in and rescue the day. It was highly offensive and people were sick and tired of it. And it didn't really start to change until like a couple of decades ago, or at least 1 decade ago, or maybe 2. And, you know, and then what made even worse is that when they would have these people of color be like the villain or a stereotype or comedic relief, they would normally play by white people doing brown or blackface or yellowface. It was extremely offensive. Not to also forget that there was no true representation within those races because they were just made for laughs, a bunch of hee-hee-ha-has, you know? And it's kind of like when people of color will watch that on TV, well, rightfully so, they was pissed off, you know what I'm saying? But there was nothing they could do because they were minorities. And, you know, and so it's like, and that's what happened also in comic books. I mean, you open up an older comic book or even like one from like the 90s, all you see are white superheroes, white villains, and a sprinkle of people of color. This is not how the world looks like, okay? It's not. And in the terms of Scooby-Doo, when you look at them, what do you see? 4 white people. There were no people of color and Scooby-Doo as a main character or a recurring character, you know. And even in the more modern adaptions a couple of decades ago in the animation, they were still all white. And it's like when they did have like a person of color on there, it was a stereotype, or it was a white person dressing up as the person of color, being like one of the little monster ghoul people and stuff. And, you know, it's like, I know white people don't want to be made fun of because I hear it all the time in their videos, because in modern day television, the white man is now to be made a fool and everybody else is smarter than him. And it pisses them off. And there's a reason for that. It's because of the crap that they have pulled in real life many, many, many years ago and still to this day, and even on TV. The world we live in is extremely diverse, okay? It looks like this. There's a sprinkle of everything in there. However, internet trolls such as the Fandom Menace cult, they want the world to look like this and this. Why? Because secretly, deep down in their hateful little hearts, they are like this. Now, they don't want to admit to it, but they are. Plain and simple as that. They act just like these people. These same people who march around talking about they won't be replaced because they don't want to be replaced, and you're not going to be replaced. You're like the dominant race in the whole world, you know what I'm saying? There's no way to replace y'all. And it's like they feel like, oh, people don't respect us, people don't this and that. Well, you know what? Karma. Because y'all didn't respect other people in the past. Plain and simple as that. And then you have people like all these celebrity idiots like Joe Rogan and stuff about, oh, I'm being replaced and blah, 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 blah. And nobody's giving me roles and blah, 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 blah. And soon the white man ain't gonna be on TV. No, white people will always be on TV. The only reason why you don't see Joe Rogan on like TV shows and movies no more is because nobody wants to hire him because one, he really can't act, and two, he is a major jerk. And did I mention he can't act? Like, it's been a very long time since he's been in a real acting gig. A very long time. And there's all these other like jerk celebrities, they chime in and they just so hateful. Like, they seem to hate everything and everybody who don't look like them. And that is how the trolls on the internet are. That's how the Phantom Menace are. Like I said, they are the new age hate group because they're able to spread their hate via the internet. They preach their poison out to like the weak-minded and stuff, and then the weak-minded, they listen to it and then they respread that, and then they the ones who go on the attack online, or they go on the attack in person and stuff. And these people really truly have lost their mind. Like, they get pissed at everything. Anytime there's a strong woman on television, oh, they're upset. Every time there's like a person of color who's like a main lead, oh, now they're upset. You know, and it's like every time somebody gets gender bent, race bent, or the LGBT community, oh, they get upset because it's not the white, straight man. And they get offended by that. And I mean, they literally get offended by every stinking thing there is, to the point where people will literally just hop on the internet, see an article, and they will skim the article, and then they will hop online and just start ranting about it. They don't read the article, they don't watch the show it's about, they don't know the celebrity, they never watched the movie or read the book, but they just want to hate for the sake of hating. And these people have gone beyond like limitations and stuff. It's like they get upset about the whole Uncle Ben's rice. I kid you not, a person literally got on Twitter and ranted about the name change of that. They ranted about the Aunt Jemima like pancake lady, syrup lady and stuff. God, they ranted about the Lady Antebellum group changing their name, and it's just like, that is what got you so hot and heated to where you're screaming and cussing people out. And then when people call you out on it, you have the nerve to scream and cuss them out online, and then you block them before they have a chance to reply. Like, seriously, it's like you have mental issues. Seriously, you do. Who cares if a character gets race bent or gender bent or LGBT bent or whatever you call that? I mean, they're human, they're here, they're all around you. They're the people you claim to be friends with, the people you claim that you like on certain TV shows when they don't have a big role. And it's like, okay, well, if you like them so much, get over it, get over it, get over it. Hey, guess what? Shh, come here. Get over it. And you want to know what's worse? What's worse is now there's now an anti-troll group that like automatically defends like anything that comes out that's considered woke. And they haven't even seen it yet, but they just straight up defend it. And they have to do that because of the Phantom Menace. Because they know the Phantom Menace is going to go on the attack as soon as they hear about a movie where it's like, you know, predominantly like people of color, LGBT, or women. And so like they literally go online and they defend a movie or a show that they haven't even watched yet, or maybe they have watched it and they still defend it anyway, even if they really don't even like it that much. And now the Phantom Menace have made it so hard that well, you just can't even hate on nothing no more online. Take CBS Star Trek. I hate that crap. I hate everything about it. And it's like, one thing I love to do is like after an episode, if I don't like it, I like to go online and talk about how I don't like it. Can't do that no more because then you get yelled at by like the other group that's trying to like defend it and stuff. And it's to the point now where shows have to like censor their comments online to censor out the Phantom Menace. They are a menace. Alrighty, well, I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.